Battle rap is way deeper than just writing your material for your opponent, writing or attacking your opponent, doing research on your opponent. Battle rap is way deeper than that. Even on a musical level, right? When you making songs and going back and forth on diss tracks, even that, it gets deeper than that when you really know what you're doing. You feel what I'm saying? When you really know how to attack, what to attack, etc. There's levels to the understanding of this battle rap thing, and there's a reason why some of the greats in battle rap currently, right? You know what I'm saying? The Murder Mooks who started years and years and years ago can still be relevant and still be effective today. You feel what I'm saying? Murder Mook was battling niggas in the early 2000s, and he just beat Hitman Holla last year. And it's because battle rappers like Murder Mook understand this one crucial thing. As a matter of fact, let me pull this screen up. You know what I'm saying? Before we even get to the real topic. Before you engage in battle, you have to understand the overall perception and narrative about what's going on, right? The way people are perceiving the battle, the way people are perceiving you, the way people are perceiving your opponent, and the way that the perception between you and your opponent creates the overall storyline. You see what I'm saying? Now, of course, there's different ways to battle, so some people don't focus on this, but I do think this is the most important thing. Let me give you an example before we go into what we were talking about. Kendrick and Drake, right? When Kendrick and Drake were about to battle, you could tell that Kendrick was very aware of the perception between him and Drake, right? The perception of even him, Drake, and J. Cole. It's a reason why certain songs like the Big Three, It's Just Big Me, hit so hard because Kendrick knows his position in that scenario. He knows what they've been doing. What J. Cole and Drake had been doing in that scenario were, you know, kissing and hugging and all this different stuff and adding validity to the idea of the Big Three. Kendrick joins in from the perception of, or from the perspective as the disruptor, right? Kendrick is the disruptor. Kendrick is the one that's disrupting the narrative. So automatically, he is nullifying the power that might be used against him from the Big Three narrative immediately in one line. That's called defense. You feel what I'm saying? And when you understand the narrative, you understand how to play defense and you understand when to play offense. Right? Because it's not just about offense and defense, it's about knowing when to play both. So we can even use a different example, right? Drake is another guy, which is why I think some of y'all gonna click off in this video when I say this, but this is why I think Drake would be able to beat a J. Cole in a battle. Because Drake, even though, first of all, we don't know if he's writing this shit, so the credit is not there, but I'm talking about just from a strategic standpoint. Drake, just like Kendrick, is also very aware of the narrative. He's very aware of the perception. He's very aware of how people are seeing it. And that's what makes Drake a dangerous opponent in battle as well, even though his other elements might not make him as dangerous. His hit-making ability and his overall understanding of the dynamics of the battle is what make Drake, or at one point made Drake dangerous. After this last battle, I think all of that is gone. But the problem between Kendrick and Drake was the fact that Drake's arrogance in the perception. Drake believed that under any guide, he would be able to sway the narrative no matter what. That's where he messed up. And because of that, he didn't play a lot of very effective defense. Now, he did have a lot of rebuttals. He had a lot of he did a good job at flipping certain stuff. Like, look, from a non-biased standpoint, Drake did a good job on Family Matters flipping stuff, right? Like playing defense and flipping stuff back on his head. And that's one thing that they was doing, Kendrick and Drake, was they having that chess match. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up now is because Drake and the game are about to make a horrible mistake in that avenue of battling, okay? And before I tell y'all why, we're just going to go over a couple of these things. So, I'm sure y'all already know about the comment that the game made on one of them posts, and obviously it was on a Poetic Flacco post. Right? Which is clear. Y'all can clearly see all this shit is coordinated, but that's a different concept. He says, at least one nigga gets it. Fans of internet goofies will never get it. These niggas aren't who you think they are. One day I'm gonna pull the curtain down so you can see every clown in their circus. Now, clearly, you see that the game, you know what I'm saying? If you look at everything that's been going on, they've been preparing for this. They've been preparing for the narrative swing. That's where you get the verses. I think the game was hoping to win the verses in order to heighten his stake, heighten his stock before he goes on offense. Because he's aware of the narrative. He knows that if he goes into the battle with Kendrick where he's at, people might not take him seriously to the point where no one is going to put pressure on Kendrick to respond. So I think that the verses with YG partially was in order to beat YG or make people remember how great he is, raise his stock, and then go on offense. Unfortunately, it didn't work that way. YG dominated him, so now they're resorting to this, right? And that's to create the narrative that Kendrick's really the one with the problem and create this storyline and almost force a storyline that's going to force people to want to see the battle. Okay? Now, right after this, right, he moves on and starts getting in the studio, right? So you have the, and shout out to Chillin' with Moni for the post, by the way. Y'all make sure y'all go follow and subscribe to her YouTube. But now they're moving on to where the security is telling everybody, which is odd, that Game has been in the studio. Right? And this isn't even about this post, but there have been Instagram posts where they were saying that Game has been in the studio. Okay? Which is weird. That's where it feels like bait, because why would you allow Kendrick to know what you're about to do, knowing how calculated Kendrick is? Right? Well, that's because it wasn't really for Kendrick. It's for the audience. It's to create the narrative and drive the narrative and drive the storyline to force Kendrick to come outside. Now, obviously, Kendrick is never going to be forced by the audience to do anything he doesn't want to do. And this is what makes Kendrick dangerous, is you can't really put him in a position like Meek Mill, where Meek Mill felt forced to respond, or people feel forced to give their defense. You're not going to be able to do that with Kendrick. So, but what they're hoping is to create the narrative and antagonize Kendrick just enough to where it ain't really about the audience. I think it's to frustrate Kendrick and make him come outside. Right? So now we're learning that the Game and Drake were in the studio this past weekend. Now, how true that is, who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if this was just blatantly false. I wouldn't be surprised if this is gearing up for an album to sell. I wouldn't be surprised if any of that should take place. But that's not why we're talking about this. Okay? Let me tell you why the Game and Drake are about to make a huge fucking mistake if this is true. All right? The one thing that Drake might have going for him, and this is coming from seeing internet narratives and talking to people in real life. I have friends in real life that love Drake, and we debate this stuff all the time. We go about our lives, and it's never disrespectful. We never get out of hand. We just talk about this shit like it's basketball. Like, that team, this team won the finals, but that team got a whole bunch of excuses of why they won the finals. It's discourse around hip hop. And from that experiment or from that understanding, the one thing that Drake kind of has in his back pocket moving forward, if his goal is to reshape the narrative of what really happened in the battle, is the 20v1 narrative, right? If you come into the battle and let's say people from the future, right, when they weren't really here to experience this moment, but they're hearing about the moment and bypassing and people talking about it. If you see all of these guys have dropped diss tracks on Drake, if you weren't really there and you didn't really know what happened, and then you got all these narratives being spun, you would probably believe that it really was a 20v1 and it took a bunch of rappers to take Drake down. Drake and company, the PR firm and all them, they're 100% aware of this, and that's why they're driving it, right? Now, the issue is this. If you and the Game get in the booth together, right? When you already have, don't forget, we already had Kanye trying to battle Kendrick. I don't know if y'all remember, but during the Super Bowl, Kanye was asking for a battle with Kendrick Lamar openly and publicly while he was having the meltdown, right? Meltdown. I have theories on that, but they'll never hit YouTube, right? And then you had Joey Badass. Joey Badass had a whole campaign hoping to go at Kendrick. You feel what I'm saying? And that ended up being a battle between Joey Badass, Rayvon, and Daylight. But at the end of the day, it nullified everything that was going on. The issue with this is, and you can look at 50 Cent, it's a lot of different rappers that you could tell are trying to get at Kendrick, whether they're being open about it or not. If this is what you're going to do, you're forcing Kendrick into the new 20v1. You're forcing Kendrick into a situation where now it's him versus everybody. Number one, what that ruins is your own 20v1 narrative, and it strengthens Kendrick because now people are more interested in what Kendrick is going to do against all of you than what you're going to do against Kendrick. And you can't have that, right? You can't have that in this scenario. You can't have it to where people are more interested in what your opponent is going to say than what you're going to say. If people are more interested in your opponent losing or winning than you losing or winning, you've damn near lost the battle already. Because now all Kendrick has to do is get y'all a Thanos track, get y'all a snap of the finger track where he going at everybody. And you don't want to put Kendrick in that environment and in that scenario. Because the type of competitor that Kendrick is, not only are you empowering like his ability because he's going to take it as a challenge, but now the audience is looking at it as he is the underdog, or not the underdog, he is the overbearing dog that is now smiting the small fry, the competition. The way that they wanted Drake to look, but you couldn't do that because Kendrick was on such a level that it wouldn't allow that. And he had dropped hit records already going at Drake before, like that hit record. You feel what I'm saying? So the issue is, it doesn't matter how effective the track is. It doesn't matter how many angles they pull out. It doesn't matter how many times the game is going to lie, because the game plays dirty. And that's okay. Some battlers play dirty. That's just how it is. They both play dirty. They're both willing to do whatever it takes. So regardless, right? No matter how effective this track is or anything, the overwhelming audience is not going to fall for the antic. Because now you've revamped the 20v1 against Kendrick. Now let's take it to another level, okay? Matter of fact, let's take it to another level, all right? Let's say you're battling, right? You dropped a diss track, Game and Drake dropped a diss track, they go into Kendrick, boom, boom, boom. But then, instead of Kendrick coming outside, J-Rock comes outside. Or instead of Kendrick coming outside, Schoolboy Q comes outside. Or Doechii comes outside. Or there's so many different possibilities that you could be pushing yourself into a corner. And if J-Rock were to come outside in response to a Drake in the game, your whole game plan is nullified, because now you have to respond to J-Rock. And it's not because, Drake is popularity, but we're on the same level as J-Rock. The issue is you're barking up a tree that hasn't confirmed that they're willing to go back and forth with you. So now all of that eagerness will be interpreted as you being ready for competition. So when that competition does step to your door, you have to respond. It's the same way the Joey Badass shit took place. Joey Badass was gunning at Kendrick. He was waiting for Kendrick. And then Rayvon came outside. And because of the gap between Kendrick and Joey Badass, Joey Badass was forced to respond to Kendrick. I'm forced to respond to Rayvon. And then when Daylight got involved, it was the same thing. So these are the dangers that the game and Drake are running into, trying to force Kendrick to come outside. And what the problem is, their desperation is going to get them cooked. It's going to get them cooked. This isn't even from a pro Kendrick, this isn't even from that perspective. This is from a person who battles, a person who's very good, I got some of the highest cosigns in battle rap that you could possibly have. I just caught a 30 a couple weeks ago from somebody who had been kicking ass. Right? I'm telling you, from the sense of battle rap, whether it's the industry or not, a lot of it has to do with the public perception of the battle. And this is not going to end well if this is what they're willing to do. Or, hold on. Even the worst possible fucking scenario for Drake and the Game is for them to get in the booth, drop a diss track, and Baby Keem responds. You can't say no to Baby Keem right now. Drake damn near can't turn that down on a one-on-one battle. And I'm not saying they on the same level of popularity or whatever, but Baby Keem is on a huge tour right now. He just dropped a great album and contender album of the year. A lot of people got it as album of the year. You feel what I'm saying? It did its numbers. It's doing a lot of better numbers than Drake's counterparts, etc. You feel what I'm saying? So when you look at it from that perspective, there's a lot of things that could go wrong here, and the ultimate goal that you wanted probably won't even fucking happen. Kendrick probably will not come outside. He probably won't even shoot at you. And he would be justified not to. The worst thing that you could possibly happen is getting into a battle with somebody who isn't Kendrick but can still do damage. Because even if you win against a J-Rock, against a Schoolboy, against a Doechii, against a whoever, you will receive significant damage before you move on to the next situation. And by then, people are the campaigning is going to be so much about who's winning this battle that you're not even going to be able to have a consensus to move forward into the next battle. People tried to force the idea that Joey Badass beat everybody on the West, and it still wasn't enough to get for the public opinion to really want Kendrick to come outside. Now, I believe that Drake and the Game think, well, we have propaganda on our side. We have DJ Academics. We have Poetic Flacco. We have all these different guys who make content who can help push these narratives. We have the people on Twitter. We have the people on Instagram to help push the narrative and force something and force the audience to want to lean in their direction. The problem is y'all might not have enough for it to be unanimous, because the only way you can force Kendrick to come outside is if it's unanimous. You need Kendrick fans, Drake fans, Game fans, and hip-hop fans alike to want Kendrick to come outside in order to even make it sensible for Kendrick to come outside. Because even then, Kendrick will not have to come outside in the position that he's in. Okay, so that's the mistake that the Game and Drake could be potentially making. They could be putting themselves in a position where they could be getting an ass whooping or get into a very difficult, debatable battle with somebody who's not Kendrick. They're better off just leaving the shit alone. Not even gonna lie. And let's say worst case scenario, Kendrick does come outside, right? You still are getting the 20v1 aspect, because Kendrick not just going to shoot at y'all. He's going to try, look, from what I understand, I think Kendrick is going to try to deliver the most quick, effective one shot to a group of individuals that we've seen. It's going to be on some against all odds type shit. That's what I'm thinking. You feel what I'm saying? It's going to be on some energy like that. And I think it'll be extremely effective. So I don't know, bro. I don't know. It's not looking good. Drake doing the 20v1 and all that different stuff with the dating stuff right before it's not gonna go well. I don't think this is gonna go well. I don't think this is gonna go the way people think it's gonna go. I do not think even in a one-on-one battle that Kendrick and Game is as close as some people are trying to make it. It's just not. The Game can rap, but he any angle that he decides to take on Kendrick is easily reversible. He cannot say the same for the attacks that Kendrick would have on him. And this is coming from a non-biased, actual battling breakdown. All right? So, yeah, that's my take. That's my perspective. I want to know what y'all think. You feel what I'm saying? My battle should be dropping soon, probably in the next few weeks. I also got more coming for y'all. You feel what I'm saying? I got music coming for y'all. Shout out to everybody that's been tapped in. Y'all gonna be seeing a lot of content centered around that. You feel what I'm saying? I think I got real creative with it, and I think y'all gonna love it. Shout out to everybody that's been tapping in. Shout out to the people. There's some people out there that's already heard it. You feel what I'm saying? And what's been going on. And yeah, shout out to everybody that's supporting, showing love, man. I know I ain't been posting a lot of content, but as you can see, we back in business. I've been finalizing things, been focused. And yeah, we back to regular scheduled programming. You feel what I'm saying? Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Like, comment, subscribe, especially if you're newer, especially if you've been here. I'm gonna catch y'all.